Hi folks, John Cordisco back again. Another game from round 2 of the 3rd annual Gashimov Memorial in honor of Ugar Gashimov, who passed away from a brain tumor a few years ago. Great player, nice guy too. What a shame. Anyway, this is the 3rd edition, and I'm only going to show 2 games. I already put one on my YouTube channel. This is the other one. Out of the 5 games today, 4 of them were decisive, which is really unusual for this level of chess. This game here, Pavel Eljanov as white, world-class player, rated 2765. And the now new current U.S. champion, Fabiano Caruana, is black. Let's get to it. It's going to be a Grunfeld. Eljanov is white, Caruana is black. Let's go through the opening here. Pretty much standard Grunfeld stuff. Knight, bishop, takes, c5, e3, castles. Okay, pretty much standard Grunfeld stuff. Grunfeld can be extremely sharp. This is a favorite of Russian Grandmaster Peter Fiedler. Couple nuances here. White can't take here, of course, because bishop checks. White takes here. That just screws up the pawn structure, and black is better. Bishop e2, just simple development. Finally, pawn takes, bishop takes. You see that a lot when you move the bishop from here to either here or here. Then black will take, forcing the bishop to move again. That's the last book move according to the computer. Knight d7, castles for Eljanov. It's pretty typical stuff here. White again can't take the pawn on c5 because after knight takes, now there's an isolated c pawn, and that's just not good. Knight b6, hitting the bishop. Bishop comes back. c4, interesting. Now, these guys have played these lines a million times. They've gone over them for big tournaments. I'm sure Caruana got a ton of stuff that he was working on for the candidates final, which I still believe he got screwed out of. Should have been a playoff, but that's just me. And I'm sure some of the stuff that he had for that he's using in this game. Bishop comes back, knight d5. That's a really good spot for that knight. Threatening to take the bishop and doubling up his pawns. But he goes queen to d2, and then knight takes. I mean, in all fairness, where's that bishop going to go? Back to g3? He can't, because the c3 pawn's in pre. So after queen moves, knight takes, pawn takes, bishop e6. Pretty typical to put the bishop there in a Grunfeld. You're not worried about moving this pawn because the bishop's already out. So that's pretty good. a4. Bishop d5. Now, good luck trying to get that bishop out of there. You're going to have to put a bishop on e4 just to move him, maneuver the knight around. It'll take forever. Knight e5. e6, just to shore that up, because we all know nothing can attack that bishop but the other bishop. Rook comes over. Instead of moving the pawn, he just moves rook b8. You see the rook on b8 a lot in the Grunfeld. You get that extra pawn on the queen side. Pretty typical Grunfeld stuff. Queen e3, a6, a5. Now what that does, it stops his pawn from moving. So if he tries to advance, he take in passant. So that pretty much freezes the b pawn for a while. But he goes b5 anyway. A takes, rook takes, g3. I don't know if I would have done that as black. Not that I'm second guessing Fabiano Caruana. I wouldn't want that a pawn to be isolated, even though it is passed. Rook takes, bishop takes, queen takes. Now, granted, black start squared bishop was pretty much biting on granite with the white pawns there, but I'm not so sure if I'd have done that. Now, right now, it's a According to the computer, it's dead even. When I say dead even, it's not close even. It's 0.00. So we're going to see how this works out. Now, to be honest with you, this position looks pretty dead. And the computer bears that out, 0.00. But I did say this is one of the games that was decisive. So somebody's going to win this. We'll see how it works out. Queen A8. Get that queen bishop battery going. H4. Bishop H1, threatening mate. Of course, we all see that the queen could come here for mate. Just moves the king off. And then H5. Well, king's a little open for white, but he's really okay. I still consider this fairly even. Knight E1, he moves him again, and then A5. Here comes the passed pawn. How is black going to protect that pawn to come down? We're going to have to see. Rook A1 just to get on the pawn. Now, of course, it can't proceed because this bishop's also here. Rook G2. Get right into white's camp. Rook takes. Queen G1 check. King goes to E2. And now bishop G2. Interesting. Because now all kinds of crap going on here with the queen. King has to go either here or here. Looks bad. Queen E3. Try to get the queen in close to help protect. Rook B8. Interesting. Get the rook into play. Bring it down. Threatening this. Rook A2. Puts the kibosh on that. Now bishop H3. Interesting. Trying to drive the king. King D2. Bishop F5. Going after the bishop. Queen E1. Bishop takes F5. Both good moves. Queen E1. Try to get rid of that queen. Caruana wants no part of it. Going to keep that queen down there just to raise havoc with white's camp. Bishop takes. And oddly enough, E pawn or G pawn takes, according to the computer, is both the same. And that's really unusual. You would take a center pawn and move him like that towards the side. I probably would play G takes, but then again, it isolates the H pawn. So I think Caruana had the right choice, even though they're both the same. Now, right now, white's problem is king safety. And if he can get this king over, get the rook here, and trade off this rook, he's thinking about drawing. Now, rook C2 is the computer's choice. This next move, I think, Eljanov stumbles. King C2. Is it a huge deal? I think it's just an inaccuracy. I see his idea. But that dropped a half a pawn immediately. Now, for us, a half a pawn is absolutely nothing. But to these guys, it's a lot. Now, oddly enough, you very rarely see this. King C2 is a double question mark on the computer. Really what it wanted was rook C2. Then after king, these are all the computer's choices. Rook B8, and it's dead drawn. After king to C2, with double question mark, Caruana goes queen to B7. And another double question mark. This class players, you very rarely see that. And of course, you see his idea is queen to B3. So he just moves the king over. And now queen to G2. We have a twofold repetition. And this time, Eljanov does it again. 2 moves out of 3, question mark. King C1. I don't think it's a double question mark move. It's just an inaccuracy. Queen to F3. Rook B2 is my choice. The white queen is guarding this pawn and this pawn. Rook B2, sensible move. But he goes Rook C2 instead. And that jumps to over a point advantage now for Caruana. Rook A8. Now, I don't know if he was under time trouble. This is move 40 for white. He blunders with Queen E2. And just like that, it jumps to an over 5 point, almost 6 point advantage. King B1 was maybe better. Then after Rook A3, Rook B2, and I think he's okay, but it's still really, really rotten. Because this pawn's going to drop. But after Queen E2, Queen H1 check, King D2. Now Rook A1. Looking bad. Queen checks. King. Queen E5 check. King H7. As Jennifer Shoddy says, buenos, no checks. Now it's Queen E2 to help protect. Now Rook B1. What else can white do? F3. And now Rook G1. And that's where Pavel Eljanov resigns. Give you an idea. What is white going to do here? D5. Rook goes to G2. You lose the queen. Queen takes pawn. You lose the queen. G4. You lose the queen. So he plays takes. King moves up. Check. Queen F1. King E3. There goes the queen and the rook. And that's it. So tough break for Pavel Eljanov. Caruana pushes through. His first win in the tournament last round was all 5 draws, so this is Caruana's first win in a really prestigious tournament. Sergei Karyakin, the world champion challenger. I'm not going to say if he won or lost in case you didn't see my other YouTube video. But there you have it, folks. Good game from round 2 of the 3rd annual Gashimov Memorial. Hope you enjoyed it. Look for other games from this tournament. And as I always say, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.